It's interesting, maybe OnlyFans is cosmic. The cosmic number, I think 4 might be a cosmic number because when you break down other massive numbers, they always end up with 4. You can try it out yourself. Let's say you pick the number 7. 7 is spelled SEVEN, 5 letters. But 5 has what? 4 letters, FIVE. 4 letters, cosmic. Pick 10, 3 letters, TEN. Okay? 3, it does the same thing because 3 has THREE. 5 letters. 5 goes back to 4. You can try it yourself. Even with massive numbers, really, really big, complex numbers, they will always end with 4. 4 score and 7 years ago. What is a score? I believe it's 20. 4 score, 4 times 20 is 80, and 7 years, 87 years ago. Who said that? Lincoln? Don't you think it would have been easier to just say 87? Maybe he was trying to flex his intelligence. Flex muscle mass, something King Henry VIII didn't have. You know what's crazy about 87? 187 is I guess it's the code, the penal code for a homicide. I found that out back in year 10, so it must have been like 15 years ago. That's wrong. It was, I don't know how long ago, but it wasn't 15 years ago. Did you know that Power is back on Netflix? Power is made by a company called Stars. And Power is one of my favorite shows on Netflix. Stars. What's interesting about Stars is they are up in space, cosmic. Very similar to the number 4, cosmic. There's a lot of things about space that are pretty interesting. I mentioned it in my previous ASMR video about physics facts. If you haven't seen that already, you should go check that out. You know, Jason Voorhees. I don't know if you can tell, but this is Jason Voorhees' hockey mask. And of course the 3-star Dragon Ball. But shout out to Jason, because Jason, he used to interrupt my dreams when I was young. Very similar to another creature called Freddy Krueger. In fact, Freddy can actually go inside your dreams and manipulate them. And if you die in your dream, should I be saying this in an ASMR video meant to be relaxing people before bed? I doubt it. So maybe I'll talk about something else. Something like the word something. Something is an interesting word because something can literally mean anything. If I were to say, well, I had a thought about something ambiguous. We've spoken about ambiguous earlier in this video. But something is so ambiguous that there are literally infinite amounts of things something could be meaning. Something could literally be anything. Are they synonyms? I don't think so. But why not? Why, if I went to the dictionary or a thesaurus and I looked up the word something, why would I not see the word anything? Since I just deduced, I just derived something to anything. Using differentiation, I differentiated something and I've got anything. In fact, no, something equals anything. Differentiation is a very good way to find things. A thing very similar to infinity. Anything, something, thing could be infinite. If you believe in infinite world theory, then there are an infinite amount of you watching this exact video. But 3 minutes later from now, also, there's a video where I'm not wearing a do-rag. There's a video you're watching somewhere in the multiverse where I only have one earring and not two. Maybe my shirt is blue. That rhymed. Wow. Rhyming. R&B and hip hop pop. Michael Jackson was the king of pop. But who was the king of hip hop? Was it Biggie Smalls? I think it was. A lot of people argue that it could have been Tupac Shakur, and R.I.P. to both. But Biggie was just different musically. In terms of greatness, you can argue that Tupac Shakur superseded music itself. I think that would be a good argument to make, but speaking purely about the music, I think that Biggie was untouchable. He was a magician with the mic. Michael Jordan. So, periodically you might hear my stomach growl, rumble aggressively, trying to combat the lactose in those protein shakes. Sorry. These little magic cups, man. I've ever used on this channel, these cups are my favorite trigger to use. actually, more recently than that, I've been going to sleep to brown noise. Didn't know that there was a difference. I didn't know there was a spectrum of noises. I think there's like green noise and shit. But brown noise, I play that on my speakers, so it has some depth to it. And like, obviously, like once you're playing the brown noise, you can't hear nothing else but that noise. So it's like, it's kind of like having a fan on. I used to sleep with my fan on constantly, even in the winter, like it is now. Not because I needed the fan, I just needed the noise, you know. But you know what's really good? Brown noise, white noise, some sort of ambient noise, and ASMR. So you put the ambient noise maybe on a TV, maybe on your speakers, and then in your earphones, in your earbuds, or obviously like this, it would be just on your phone, maybe ASMR without headphones. You'd listen to an ASMR video. Maybe save that only for when you are extremely tired, or when you're not extremely tired, but you 100% need to sleep. Tomorrow's a big day. You've got a job interview. Let's say you've got an assignment at school. Let's say you've got to look fresh for a date. You've got a big game tomorrow. Well, then that combo of brown noise, ambient noise, and ASMR, tough. Section of the video. I say low key, but I meant high key, cause damn, that's tough. You know, I live nowhere near a train station. Like, the nearest train station's like over a 10-minute walk from here. Walk, not a drive, walk. It's far away, yet I can hear trains. Their horns, a train's horn. This one here, guys, is one of the unforgivable curses, probably the most unforgivable of the curses, and I'm going to show you the card itself. It's a pretty cool image of Voldemort actually casting this. I think think this was the scene in Goblet of Fire, or this is either Goblet of Fire or it's Half-Blood Prince Part 2, where he's battling Harry, but this is definitely a battle scene. For sure. Pronunciation, Avada Kedavra. A lot of people, whenever they pronounce this spell, they think it's abracadabra, but it's Avada Kedavra. Cadavra. And this is the first curse that we have. This type is a curse. It's not a charm, it's a curse. Purpose causes the instantaneous, painless death of the target, also known as the killing curse. Movie Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, so I'm guessing this picture was taken during the final battle between Voldemort and Harry in the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Spell scene. One of the 3 unforgivable curses. Lord Voldemort cast this spell many times throughout the movies, even using it to kill Harry Potter in the Forbidden Forest. Harry Potter, the boy who lived, come to die. And that was said by Voldemort in Half-Blood Prince in the Deathly Hallows Part 2. One of the best scenes in the whole series. That scene was, I remember the first time watching that scene, I had chills, I had goosebumps, bro. Crazy scene. The scene, like, obviously the books was one thing, but then the scene when you got to see it on the big screen on TV, bro, different. Then it's just silence. Oh, Father, got up. Sensational. The next spell is Brachio Emendo. Pronunciation, Brachium Emendo. Brachium Emendo. This is our first spell type, so the first 6 were like charms. Then we had the killing curse, and this is a spell. Its purpose is to allow the caster to mend broken bones. Or does it? Movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene. After a Quidditch match versus Slytherin, Professor Gilderoy Lockhart uses this spell to heal Harry Potter's arm. The pain immediately disappears, along with Harry's bones. So he healed his bones. He stopped the pain by disappearing his bones, basically. So this spell doesn't really mend broken bones. And the quote is, "Not to worry, Harry. I will fix that arm of yours straight away." Shout out to Gilderoy Lockhart. He was an absolute menace, mate. The next spell is System Aperio, and it's also a charm. It's pronounced System Aperio. System Aperio. Purpose, blast open a trunk or box. Movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Spell scene. Years before Harry Potter arrives at Hogwarts, Tom Riddle uses this spell to blast open a trunk belonging to Rubeus Hagrid, releasing Hagrid's pet Acromantula Aragog. And the quote from Tom Riddle in that movie was, "Stand aside, Hagrid." And I remember that scene. It was like during a flashback, and Tom Riddle basically, obviously you can't see Hagrid's face. He's like a shadow figure, and then Tom Riddle just blasts open a box. And this is the spell he used to do that. As you can see, the picture of young Tom Riddle right here. System Aperio. The second unforgivable curse on this list. Pronunciation, Crucio. Crucio. Type, curse. Purpose, inflicts intense, excruciating pain on the target. Movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Spell scene. In the Little Hangleton graveyard, Voldemort cast this unforgivable curse twice upon Harry Potter, causing the boy wizard to fall to the ground in pain. The first time we got to see this in the Goblet of Fire, though, was when Mad-Eye Moody, who, was actually Barty Crouch Jr., disguised after drinking Polyjuice Potion. But he basically taught it to the students. He taught them all three of the unforgivable curses. And yeah, this one's crazy. I think this one, in terms of intensity, in terms of the worst, this one is the second worst next to Avada Kedavra. And we'll get to the last one soon. The next spell is Diminuendo. 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 I remember this spell because I can remember the scene, and I know exactly what scene this is. This is the scene where the movie is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and this is where Dumbledore's army assembled in the Room of Requirements, and they were basically like experimenting with their magic and trying to be better students and better magicians, better wizards, witches. And Diminuendo was one of the spells that were cast by, it was either Ginny, one of the Asian girls, or that little white boy, Nigel. Anyway, pronunciation, Diminuendo. It's a charm, and its purpose is to force the target to shrink. Spell scene. While practicing his spell casting, here we go. While practicing his spell casting as part of Dumbledore's army, Nigel Walpert uses this charm to defeat a mechanical Death Eater inside the Room of Requirement. That is so hard. That's wavy, because I pretty much got it nailed on. And this is Harry Potter's quote from that exact scene. Working hard is important, but there's something that matters even more. Believing in yourself. Facts, Harry. Big facts. The 20% that you do often yields the 80%. A lot of people think it's the reverse, and this can be linked to the law of diminishing returns as well. A lot of people think it's actually connected completely to the law of diminishing returns. A lot of people believe that the more that they do, the more that they will yield. But Pareto's principle, and this is it's a principle that's been studied also in business models and all kinds of different models. So this is not just waffle. You can actually see this in your life if you pay attention. Pay attention. People would often assume that the more work they get through, the more they work on whatever they're working on, whether it's your mind, your body, your job, your relationship, whatever it is, the more that they would yield, the more that they would get out of it. But really and truly, people should be focusing on the 20%. Now, that 20%, the misconception is it's not 20% effort. It's 20% of the right thing. You need to find what is completely beneficial and completely efficient and completely effective, and work on that way more than you're working on anything else that is maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but you're ultimately wasting your time. For example, when I was in school, it took me years to realize that, and I hope that this can genuinely help a lot of you watching this video right now. It took me years to realize that, let's say you have a book, and this book is like this thick, and this is your entire syllabus. The perfect description, representation, demonstration of Pareto's principle is the 80% is reading the entire syllabus, the entire book, and trying to cram all that information in your mind, the entire book, when all you're trying to do is pass a certain test. But the 20% would be, you know what, I'm trying to pass this test. Let me get 5 different past papers on this test, old exams that have been out, released. Maybe my teacher has them, maybe they're out online, but past papers, and let me be really good at doing this exact test. So when it's time to do the brand new test, I'm really good at it. You get the mark scheme, you get the test papers, you see how the questions are worded, you see what the mark scheme requires from you, and that's your focus. When you actually do the test, you will literally see questions worded the exact same way you've been practicing, and you would know exactly what to write. I'm sure I'm not the only one that came to that conclusion, had that epiphany. I think I had the epiphany in school too late. I think I had the epiphany in like 6th form, when I should have had it in year 8. But hopefully that's a good example for you, and maybe that's not you, maybe you're not in school, but the example, the concept of it can be applied to other elements in your life. Parkinson's law, this is a really good one too. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you allocate a week to a task that could take a day, it will likely take the full week due to procrastination or added complexity. This principle is useful for time management and setting tighter deadlines to boost efficiency. What a principle, what a law. I think that a lot of us naturally procrastinate. I think procrastination is quite a natural thing, and me personally, I'm a heavy procrastinator, and if you are a procrastinator too, you shouldn't feel bad, because it's nothing out of the ordinary. I think our goal as people is to try to fix our procrastination, to procrastinate less. But this principle basically says that, I also think a lot of us, we lie to ourselves, and we probably know that this task I can knock out in a day if I put my mind to it. But I'm gonna give myself a timeline, a deadline of like 2, 3, 4 days. That task will not be done in 1 hour that it could be done. It's gonna be done on day 4. It's almost a guarantee. It's like homework. Like a teacher will set a deadline for this assignment is due next week, and on day 7, Sunday evening before Monday when it's due, you knock out the work in 2 hours, because that's how long it actually would take you to do the assignment. But the fact that the teacher gave you a week, the assignment genuinely took a week. When it comes to other people setting us deadlines, completely different, but personal deadlines. In order to boost our own efficiency, we set tighter deadlines for ourselves, knowing what we are truly capable of. Obviously, the deadlines shouldn't be unrealistic. They should make sense, but they should also be honest. I think honesty is the best policy for ourselves, because we know ourselves more than we know anyone else. And I think productivity in our lives, procrastination in our lives, productivity up and procrastination down of this one. I'd say that my hands are pretty clean, pretty fresh, wouldn't you? sediments are coming off. Every now and again while I am dusting, I just see them flying off. It's quite frustrating. Ouch. I would say that my hands are clean now. I genuinely think that tissue crinkling, right, is one of the most underrated triggers in ASMR. And the only reason I think that is because whenever I make these kinds of ASMR videos specifically engineered for sound and triggers, whenever I edit these videos, I find that the tissue crinkling section is quite sensational. Let me know if you agree. can see the sound waves being created below. And it seems like this methodology will indeed work. There's a lot of tissue dust in the air. There's a lot of sponge sediments on my desk, on my fingers. This is a crazy ASMR video, bruv. But this is my first pro spec racket, so this is actually like, if I can read. Yeah, so this unstrung without strings is actually 300 grams, like most pro rackets. Like this, fresh out of the box, was good to go. This has no modifications, no lead tape, no weight in the handle, no weight in the butt cap, which is a butt cap you can open, unlike some of my other rackets, because they're not pro spec. There's no weight inside, there's no weight on the head, but it plays like a semi beast. It plays like a beast, to be honest. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, you know what I need? I actually ordered this the other day. I need to put this on all of my rackets, or all the rackets that I use, because today I was actually playing with my babbler, which I'm going to show you in like 5 seconds, and I saved a point playing doubles, which no one likes. No one likes to play doubles, bruh. No one. Doubles has its benefits. You learn to volley, and I volleyed the ball. I saved it and smacked my babbler on the floor, and the grommet, the head guard, kind of died. And I was like, damn, I bought this 2 days ago and I forgot to put it on my racket. And I'm like, if this was on my racket would have been saved. Racket saver. But yeah, the TR 930 Spin Pro. Funnily enough, I was disputing whether to get the TR something, but the control version of this racket, beautiful colorways like grey and purple, is actually a racket that Monfils, if you know who that is, he sponsors. He plays with that racket on tour. But I ended up buying this after reading reviews. I was going to buy the Power Pro, the TR 990 Power Pro. I ended up settling with this, and I have not looked back since. The penultimate racket in the collection, the iconic Banana Babolat Pure Aero. This is the 2019 version, and this is my most recent purchase, and boy, this racket unstrung weighs 300 grams. And I weighed it after I put on a new grip. So when I get these rackets off eBay, I clean them. I clean the head, disinfectant, and then I take off the original grip and then I re-grip with my own. So it's pretty much a brand new racket to me. Once I put on this grip, I measured the weight and it was 350 grams. Now, that's like the pros on tour. They will have like 300, 350, 360, 370. That's the heaviest I have. And I'm wondering, this racket has no modifications. I opened the butt cap and there's nothing inside it. So I'm wondering, how does this racket weigh so much without any modifications? This racket is a 2 grip. As I mentioned before, rackets they go up in 8s. So if you have grip size 0, it's just a 4. And if you have grip size 1, then it's 4 and 1/8. And grip size 2 is 4 and 2/8 or a quarter. And this is 2 4 and a quarter. You probably can't see it. This silver sticker right here. So it's a size lower than my normal grip size, which is a grip size 3. Yet, once I put on my overgrip, this happens to be the fattest grip that I own right now. So I'm assuming that the person that owned this racket bought grip 2, and then you can do something called building up. Like you can have a shrink sleeve, put a shrink sleeve on, and then it makes the racket 1 grip size bigger. So this is actually a 3. There's, I think, 2 overgrips on this now, so this might be a 4 or 5, which is why it's so big in my hand. Pause. That's a big pause. Wow. Okay. But yeah, on court, this is a beast. I was talking to my hitting partner, and he told me that because he has really heavy rackets, and he told me that I might not enjoy hitting with this when I first start. Like I might have to adjust to it. I might have to add more tape to adjust it to my normal spec. Nope, no adjustment needed. This racket is a monster. Absolutely in love with this. It has spin grommets. You can't read it, but these grommets right here, these strings all the way up to the top, and this black piece at 12 o'clock and at 6 o'clock, these strings, basically what happens is they all move. They move more than a normal racket, and what that should allow for in theory is more spin on the ball, because the more the strings move, the more spin you can generate. That has caused a lot of string breaks, and one of the complaints about these rackets is people need to restring often because they pop their strings. But obviously I haven't experienced that yet. If and when I do, I'll let you know. Do I experience more spin with this than my other rackets? Not really. I can spin a ball very well, so I can pretty much spin with any racket. So I guess a spin racket is going to be helpful for people who can't really generate spin by themselves. But I feel like if you can, it's not going to affect your spin. You're not going to see a massive change, a massive difference. This string, I believe, is called Cyclone, and it's strung at 55 pounds, which is probably around 50 or lower now that I'm playing with it. But this is the 2019 Pure Aero, the banana, what people like to call the banana because it kind of looks like a bruised banana. And yeah, eventually I think I'm going to take this grip off, I'm going to take the other grip off and then put a grip back on, so there's only one grip, and see if it changes the thickness of the handle. I'm going to add ice to this tornado and see what happens. Wait, no. We're going to add ice to this tornado over here. Snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It can snow this Christmas in London. Well, it never does, so. But we got snow, so we've got ice and we've got snow. I'm going to keep these there. I still feel like I need some earth shit. So let's put earth, let's say, down here. And let's add a wave to earth. Let's just see what happens. Wouldn't this be a tsunami? Sand. I feel like I'm getting closer to land animals. I'm soon gonna make a human out this bitch. Sand. If I burnt sand, that sounds pretty fascinating. What happens if I burn sand? Glass. Oh yeah, all of our most interesting stuff goes up here. Glass. I can see through. I've created glass, brother. What happens if I... What happens when there's a storm and a storm hits glass? I have no idea, but let's find out. That doesn't make much sense, but I have something interesting. I do have lightning. Now, once I get to Jeffrey, I'm gonna add lightning to Jeffrey, and if I don't get the flash, this game is rigged. Lightning, 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 lightning. What happens? Right, okay, so in the X-Men, Storm has powers. What happens if you add lightning to a storm? Do you not get Thor, the god of thunder? Maybe you do get thunder. Jeez. Real G. Lightning right here. Let's say... Can we add more lightning to thunder and let's just see what happens? Okay. That's the end of that. Okay. Thunder. I want to add thunder to sand. I don't know what's going to happen if I add thunder to sand. But we're going to find out. A sandstorm. That does make a lot of sense. We're going to put sandstorm over here. What happens if I add lightning to a sandstorm? A dust storm. Well, that's pretty anticlimactic. Yeah, you're not going on the right hand side of this. You can stay down here actually. Storm. Okay, so let's try to invent some more things from the core materials. So have we added water to wind? I'm sure we have. What did we get? Yeah. Say goodbye. What about earth? Right. And water. Earth and water is photosynthesis. It's not, there's no sun, but we have germination. We have a plant. Let's add some more water to this mother. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I'm on the cusp of animals. I can see it's either a crocodile or it's an alligator right by swamp. Clearly, all I need to do is add something to this. We're going to put swamp right here. All I need to do is add something to this swamp to make it into an animal. But what would it be? I feel like I should burn the swamp down, first of all, but maybe if I add more earth to the swamp. What would earth do? Oh, let me just do it. Mud with the shit emoji. Yes, this is exactly what I needed, because mud, when you have mud, you have humans and you have animals. Trust me. We're going to add some more earth to this. Clay. That's pretty boring. We're going to add some more earth. Pottery. Let's add some more earth. A vase. More earth. A pot. More earth. A kettle. Lava. What? Oh shit, sorry. I didn't add earth, I added a volcano to a pottery and it became lava. Okay, sorry, never mind. Say goodbye. Let's mess with mud. Let's make a mud storm. A mud slide. Nice. Let's make it cold as hell. Okay, that's boring. We'll put mud slide back though. Let's say earth. And now, did we add wind to earth before? We did. I think I have. No, it's a dust storm, but dust. Humans are technically made of dust though. So let's square some dust and see what happens. Sandstorm, tornado. This much dust makes a tornado, huh? Okay, let's bring back dust and say we add earth to dust. Oh my flipping days, mate. You know what? Say goodbye. All of you, move. Get out the way. Sorry, move. Mudslide, move out the way. All of you, in fact, yeah, say goodbye. Steam, move out the way. Move out the way. Gaze on. Anyway, move out the way. Yo, I feel like I'm on the verge of something quite special. Sorry, like, I'm on the verge of something quite special. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know, I can't even remember how I did it, but I created a planet, bruh. So, one of the craziest facts, the best facts, the most fascinating facts, I watched an Instagram reel the other day, and it was basically this, I guess he's a physicist, his name was Brian Cox, and he was basically talking about if people could travel at the speed of light, if we could, let's just say hypothetically, and we were to go away to some planet. I can't remember what he said about like the distance of the planet, but we were to travel at the speed of light. Let's say the journey of us traveling at speeds close to the speed of light took around 4 minutes, 5 minutes. We would get to our destination. Everything would be cool. We'd see what's around. We'd say, what's up to the aliens? Yo, we've been talking about you on Earth for light years. Joke, light years is a form of distance. We've been talking about you on Earth for a long time, and it's cool to see you guys. Don't look like upside down raindrops. You look different, you look cool. We're now gonna go back to Earth. 5 minutes, right? That 5-minute journey, traveling at speeds close to the speed of light, would take like millions of years. So millions of years would pass on Earth, but the person traveling to them, it took 5 minutes. Let's say the round trip was 6 minutes long. Millions of years on Earth would pass before that person came back to Earth. They call it the forbidden. They say that us being able to go to other planets and come back and tell the tale of what we saw is forbidden just because of that. And it's fascinating because we probably will never be able to travel at speeds close to the speed of light. But even if we could, the information that we receive from exploring the galaxy, we couldn't even bring it back to Earth to bring Earth our findings. Isn't that like insane? You know, your relative time passing as you're going about is completely different when the faster you go. I think that's one of the facts that I got here actually. The faster you go, the time actually slows down so much so. Wild. Yeah, so the first fact over here says that time moves slower in stronger gravity. This is called gravitational time dilation, predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity. On the way back from my nephew's first birthday, me and my brother-in-law were in the car and we were having a discussion about gravity and space, and it actually got me motivated to make this exact video, funnily enough. Really good conversation. I wish I remembered a lot of the things we were saying. We were talking about the Big Bang, the Big Crunch, you know, how scientists can tell that the universe is expanding, you know, radio waves, microwaves, like the wavelength, the redshift, it's a certain, you know what's crazy, A-level studying now, apparently 10 meters per second squared is the figure for gravity now, when in my day it used to be 9.81 meters per second squared. You know, making calculations would be so much easier if we could just use 10, but we couldn't use 10, we used 9.81. Why is it now changed to 10? Gravity hasn't changed, so why are kids allowed to use 10 now? make them use 9.81, put into the calculator and give a figure. That's tough, that's crazy. Like, whatever, particles can be in two places at once. In quantum mechanics, particles like electrons can exist in superpositions, being in multiple states or places simultaneously until observed. When I was studying A-level physics, this is what they could observe using the double slit experiment. There are some particles that are literally spinning and still at the same time. There are some particles that behave like a light wave, and they also behave like not sound wave, but there's another thing that they behave like, depending on if they're being observed or not. It's like they're shy, so when no one's looking they do certain things, but when people start looking, they start acting different. Literally, these particles, superposition. I've always thought that phrase was pretty cool, that word was pretty cool. The superposition of a particle. Absolute zero isn't actually nothing. Even at 0 Kelvin, quantum particles still have 0 point energy. They're never completely still. So if you didn't know, 0 degrees, for example, is freezing point. But obviously you know that outside can be -5 degrees, -10. So you can go below 0 degrees. But when you get to, I believe it's -273 degrees Celsius, this number, that level of cold, is supposed to mean that at that level of cold, particles lose all of their energy. That is 0 Kelvin, right? But apparently here, it says that even at 0 Kelvin, quantum particles, still have 0 point energy, meaning they're never completely still. So basically, even at such low temperatures, there are some particles that still have energy. That's pretty cool. Actually, the universe has no center. The Big Bang didn't happen at one point in space. It happened everywhere, expanding space itself. Well, how does that make sense? I thought the Big Bang is literally called a singularity. So basically, from a single point, the Big Bang happened, right? And then the universe started. It started to push out from that one point. But this fact is saying that the universe has no center, but it's because the Big Bang didn't happen at one point in space. It happened everywhere. How does a explosion happen everywhere simultaneously? Because even if it did, if we just think of the concept of the multiverse and just plain space, it can't have happened everywhere. This fact is kind of weird still. You age slightly faster on a mountain than at sea level. Again, due to gravitational time dilation, weaker gravity equals faster time. You know that the universe is so big, right? So there's this black hole in space. It's the biggest black hole we know.